Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, costing a company millions, hospital bill, festival drink token compliance. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Costing a company millions. So I worked as a QA, quality assurance, at a factory I'll call Idor. To get started, I'll explain their report process. When something goes wrong in the factory that's directly tied to quality, such as bad coloring or defects, I as a QA lead would have to write a report. These reports were very detailed and extremely time-consuming. Now, when something went wrong that wasn't directly tied to quality but affected it, such as a machine breaking or foreign material getting in the machines, the lead in charge of the machines were supposed to write the report. Somehow all the reports ended up being written by me, even though I had my own time-consuming job to do. I had been fighting to not do others' reports for months, and my boss told me to remind other leads when a report was needed. One day I'm doing my reports plus my data analysis duties, and I hear over the radio that a refrigerator unit has gone out and all the product was coming out as boiled mush instead of frozen. So I call refrigeration and tell them, you need to do a report on this. I'll send out an email counting how many pallets of product we lost. So I send the email and continue on with my day. 2 weeks later, my boss calls me into her office and asks me why I didn't write a report on the incident. I say, you told me to remind the other leads to do it and not write their reports. She responded, well, if you have time to send an email, you have to write a report. Then she makes me sign a write-up for failure to do my duties, which I did placidly because she had written up everyone else in my department and had been looking for something to write me up for, so I decided to let her have it and get it out of the way. Well, a couple months later, and the exact same thing happens, and all I do is tell refrigeration over the radio to write a report. I did nothing else, knowing that refrigeration wouldn't write it. Because there was no report or helpful emails, the product was almost shipped out 2 months later, but it was caught by one of my QAs who mentioned the incident to my boss. Boss calls me to her office and tells me this incident is going to cost the company millions in storage fees for the time it was already stored, disposal fees, lost product, and a fine from Walmart for not meeting contract. Why didn't you email me about this? I didn't have the time, but I did tell refrigeration to write a report. She couldn't write me up for it because I had emails from her telling me how to handle these situations. Hospital bill. For context, we live in the US. We recently got a $4,000 hospital bill for an overnight stay with a minor surgery for our son. This was after our insurance paid $16,000. We got our secondary insurance to pay an additional $1,500. But had $2,500 left out of pocket. What now? Well, the hospital has a financial assistance program. We qualify. Hooray, right? Not right. They find out we have an FSA, basically a credit card that can only be used for medical expenses. They want to wipe out the FSA before they will look at our income. The FSA really should count as part of our annual income, but alas. My husband is pretty resigned to this and ready to fork over our whole FSA, but I'm pretty salty about it. We have a decent amount left on the FSA, but this is for all our appointments for the year. We only have weeks to pay this bill or have it sent to collections, so not enough time to schedule a bunch of necessary appointments. ETA, this is after the many hoops/documentation the supplemental insurance required and finally paid. This had run our clock down. I assure everyone we did our due diligence and requested an itemized bill. Our other option, as many have mentioned, was a payment plan. But this would be for the full remaining amount and we would see no reduction in the bill. If the FSA didn't exist, we qualified for a 75% to 100% reduction. This isn't pulling a fast one. Had they reduced the bill, we would have used the FSA to pay it, but they wouldn't do that. I am determined not to let the entirety of this thing go to the hospital, because I know if they looked at our income, the rest of the bill would probably be dropped or significantly reduced. What to do? I bought every FSA eligible item I could think of on Amazon that we may need over the next 6 months. Another ETA, I address this is in the comments, but it is perfectly legal to use your FSA like this, and you should. There are many qualifying items, and you do not need a prescription. I learned a lot from the comments, and if nothing else, I hope this post can help someone. Took about half of the FSA out in a week. Just in time for our final notice. Collections or payment plan. We pay with what we have left of the FSA, and then they finally run our numbers. Q call that the rest of bill is indeed dropped, because we qualified for the reduction. Festival drink token compliance. A couple of years ago, I was attending a music festival where you had to buy tokens in order to exchange them for drinks. They would charge you an additional token for the reusable cup they would serve the drink in, and to encourage people not to throw them everywhere, you could bring back the cups to get back money equivalent to 1 token. At the end of the day, I wanted to leave, but I still had about 10 tokens left. I went directly to the stand where they sold them to exchange them back into money. After a short queue, when it was my turn, I showed my 10 tokens, and was told they didn't exchange the tokens back into money, only the cups. I tried to argue with the person working there, but they told me it was definitely not possible. I told them that it was alright, and that I'll be back in a minute. I then proceeded to the bar, and asked for 10 empty cups in exchange for my 10 tokens. They looked at me strangely but immediately agreed to the exchange. I then went back to the stand where they sold the tokens, especially choosing the same queue I was in before, and after another short wait I was in front of the same employee. They looked at me. I showed them the stack of 10 clean cups. They looked at the cups. Then they looked back at me. Okay, here is your money. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.